How do you assess the global community's response so far to these Israeli violations of Syrian sovereignty?
Well, we have seen yesterday in the UN, it's true that the Israeli attacks were condemned, but at the same time, there is still uncertainty of how the situation would develop in Syria with too many regional players who are counted as enemies or possible enemies of Israel. So while the international community does not approve what Israel is doing by bombing Syrian military targets, at the same time, the international community itself put Syria yesterday in a place where they want to have answers, a list of demands in order to ease the sanctions on Syria that has been on the table for decades. So the international community sees in the interim government of Syria today a possible threat for both their jihadi or Islamic background. This is one. Two, because they might have inherited some of the storage of the claimed the so-called chemical weapons of al-Assad regime. So the international community does condemn what Israel is doing, but at the same time, they see some kind of justification, if I may use the word, for Israel's worrisome from the current Syrian administration. Also, they see it as from certain aspect, they see it as Israel is trying to mitigate any reloading or rearming of militias backed by Iran that would cause violence or tension or insurgencies on the Israeli borders.
I'll stay with you, Dr. Soliman, for a moment. You mentioned there's some very interesting points about the international community and their thinking that there is some justification for Israel's action. You mentioned the possibility of the remnants of chemical weapons that Assad may have had in the past being perhaps a factor. Do you see that there's any justification?
I don't see it as justification, and there is no justification whatsoever for what Israel has been doing since its establishment till today. But I'm telling you what the international community would see, especially when it's supported by the Americans. The Americans released a list of demands to the Syrian government, the Syrian interim government, saying that they are afraid that foreign fighters are going to hold positions in the Syrian government, that they want a complete destruction of any weapons of mass destruction, especially the chemical weapons. So when you release such demands at the same time that Israel is striking Syrian military bases and warehouses, it sends a message that it's not just a worry from Israel, it's a worry shared by the Americans and perhaps shared by Western Europe, that Syria can do harm to Israel. In this case, the global community, even if it condemns what Israel is doing, but it sees a part of it as joint worries about a government that has a violent background and at the same time seizing the capabilities of the old regime that was bluntly threatening Israel.